Right. Good morning, everyone. Friday, June 30th. Um, just so you know, most of the recordings, there's a few that were missed just because I couldn't record a couple of days. Once when I was in the mountains and once at the hospital, just how I joined. But all the recordings are up on the YouTube channel. And today I wanted to share some information that I remembered, I'll say it that way, remembered about goal setting. And so I made some notes. So today will be a combination of a little bit of teaching and maybe a little bit of download stuff. But the download came this morning to teach this. So I made some notes. And this is specifically around goal setting. And so when we set goals, the way that we're taught to set goals is more of an intellectual experience, right? And weeks ago, I did talk about when we're setting goals to ask your business, to tap into your business or tap into the divine or tap into your body and ask, to start asking different questions in different ways versus using our intellect, right? So if you think about like the smart way of setting goals, which is what most of us were taught, it's a very intellectual experience, but goal achieving is actually a spiritual, we can talk about being a scientific, like a quantum physics experience, or we could even look at it from, using the universal laws. So it's a spiritual, like lawful quantum physics. So it's not really an intellectual exercise, even with quantum physics based in science. That's about quantum entanglement, right? Thoughts become things because of the observer effect. And so, it's interesting if we look at, how we were taught to set goals, whether we resonate, with that or not. And I've talked lots about different ways to set goals or different ways to look at goal setting. And then I was thinking about something that my mentor taught me, about we have this opportunity to imagine, but imagination can be limited by our current reality, our current experience. And, because we are taught to stop going into school, stop daydreaming, pay attention, all of those things. And, so throughout our school, we learn how to stop doing that, right? That's what we're taught. And so there's an opportunity, though, for us to look at this from a much different perspective and even maybe changing the word imagine or imagination to fantasizing. And what would that look like for you to fantasize about what it is that you want? And that might be a difficult word for a lot of people for lots of different reasons. And so just kind of, go with the flow today with that particular word. And if it triggers you in any way, just if you can set aside, the trigger, because I know that can be a difficult word for different people. But fantasizing, as far as imagination, is really about engaging the creative process with and through us as being a human being. So when we are goal setting, and we might ask ourselves, what do we want? But it's usually like, what do we want to, and then add the word achieve, what do we want to accomplish? The moment we do that, we actually start to look at our current experience, right? Our current environment. So it can be more difficult to create or manifest a fantasy because it's based in reality. Like SMART goals are based in reality: specific, measurable, attainable, RT, trackable, it's traceable, something like that. So it's based in where we currently are. So if we're setting goals based on our past experience, we are limiting ourselves, or we have limited capabilities to fantasize because we're basing it on reality, basing it on fact. We might even say we're basing it on truth, but the truth of our experience is not the truth of who we are, which is a divine connection to source. And so maybe not even asking what do we want, but what do I, right, really, really, really want? What would I allow myself the permission, right? What would I give myself permission to really, really, really want? And again, want not as in terms of lacking, but just in terms of using that particular word. If it feels better, use desire. What do I really, really desire? And so what if we gave ourselves permission to fantasize? So the question I wrote down was, if I gave myself permission, what do I really, 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 really want? If I gave myself permission, it's a work around my intellect. Right? If I gave myself permission, what would I really, 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 really want? It's such a great question, because as a human being, immediately we want to go into, well, how can I make that happen? How can I make money from that? Right? And this isn't about making money, and it's not about planning anything, but it's about allowing yourself to fantasize, to daydream, to ask yourself, a different question. Because, as I said, usually what happens is when we set a goal, we go into planning. We actually look at it from what do we think that you can accomplish. We look at the facts of where we're at, and then we look at what we know, air quoting, for those of you just listening afterwards, like intellectually, what do I know? And so let's using a specific example, and you can fill, it doesn't have to be money, but fill in kind of whatever, wherever you're at, right? But, when we think about the money piece, or goal setting, we often go into revenue, right? And it's often based on, well, this is what I did last year, and so this is what I want to do this year. And because from a factual perspective, most of us know how much money we make, using that word, and how much our bills are. And so our intellect, right, our paradigms, our values won't necessarily allow us to make this huge quantum leap, let's say, not even a quantum leap, but leap into, what would it be like? So, my mentor was known for taking your yearly income and changing it into a monthly income. And what would that, look like? And so, and he said that the toughest thing for everyone was when I don't know how to do that. I don't, and they go into the planning. And he used to say, stop planning because you haven't made the commitment yet. Once you make the commitment of what it is that you really, really, really want. Now, the other piece to that, which I think is even, pulling some layers away, is when we talk about a money goal, we're talking about a money goal because there's something that we want to buy with the money. There's something we want to do with the money. And so if you don't have, and again, we've talked about this before, we use different words. But if there's no place for the money to go to, there's no place, there's no reason for expansion. So we're living our life purpose. We make this decision, right? We talk about changing and expanding, but we always look at our current situation. We always look at the facts, air quoting, of what it is that we think that what's real, what we know. And so then we get stuck back in those past values and paradigms. So this is one of the reasons why we talk about, tapping into our higher purpose. So tapping into the business and asking the business what it would like to create, or asking your higher self, right? Asking your your divine self, right? What do I really, 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 really want? So we're releasing the ego. The intellect's not involved in this process at all. Not now. Not now. And that can be difficult for a lot of people because we're taught to focus on what everyone else wants, right? We're taught that everyone else's needs are more important than ours. We're taught that if we take care of ourselves, right, if we manifest for ourselves, if we, do X, Y, Z for ourselves, that we're being selfish, that we're self-centered. And so that's a lot of reasons why we don't even think about what we want. And we're taught that what we want, what we desire, isn't important. Often we've witnessed parents who made sacrifices to their own health and wellness, or their own well-being, right, for their spouse, for their kids, for their business, for money, which actually isn't the truth at all when it comes to the money piece. We've witnessed a lie, an illusion that we're part of. And so what if you stopped focusing on what was best for others and focused on what was best for you? What if you stopped focusing on what you do and focused on what you want? What if when we think about our purpose, and all of us have a purpose, again, our jobs might not be our purpose, but our purpose can't unfold, we can't grow into it if we don't acknowledge what we really, really want. And we're so caught up in the making of the money, the illusion, that we forget to ask ourselves, what do we really, 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 really want? What would feel really good? We're taught to not actually want stuff. Don't be so demanding, right? Don't be so dissatisfied. Don't be, and then fill in the blank, whatever you were taught, by your family. Sorry, everyone, I've got this hair that's driving me crazy. I don't usually see that. What if, right? What if we just sat all day today and thought, do I want that? And it could be material things. It might not be material things. It could be a lifestyle. It could be something broader than a lifestyle. It could be something more specific. It could be, it could be anything, right? But we've been taught not to, right? We've been taught not to be selfish. I forgot, my mom used to say, and she said it this week with dad, when people are like, do you want me to come? So my mom's name is Donna. Donna, do you want me to come to the hospital? And my mom told every single person that asked that, if you come to the hospital, you're coming for you. You're not coming for Claire or I. We're good. So hospitals make you uncomfortable. Hospitals stress you out. We know that you love him. We know that you care for him. You do not have to come for us. It was really interesting because, even yesterday, Rob said to me, you should go to the hospital. And I'm like, no, I'm good. But your dad needs you there. No, he doesn't. Yeah, you should go. I'm like, no, he doesn't. Because I didn't feel like it was good for me to go yesterday. And I didn't go to the hospital for my parents. I went for me. So it's an interesting reminder for me that I can take that one value that has been instilled since my mom and dad started the 12-step program and expand on that value. Could you imagine? Oh yeah, there's a bit of resistance there. Could you imagine just doing what you want every single day? And you know, and what I mean by that, it's kind of like, well, I mean, you could. What came to me was like, I may not want to scrub the toilets, but they're necessary. But you know what? If I really, really didn't want to scrub the toilets, I would hire someone to scrub the toilets, right? And so we can do that. What would it be like for you if you just did the things for you that you wanted to do? And didn't worry about what other people thought. So the first step is to acknowledge, what do you really, 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 really want? If there was no limits placed on you, if you had, you know, I always just use that. If I had, you know, I don't know why it's always 200, if I had $222 million in the bank and I had done everything I wanted to do and all my people were taken care of, what would I really, really want? And when we don't think about what we really, really want, when we don't do what we really, really want, we're actually shutting ourselves off from divine source energy because we're following the ego, the intellect, like, right? The expectations of others. So what? So that what? So that what? You're following the expectations of others. So that what? Question mark. So that people don't call you selfish, so that people don't call you self-centered, so that people, right, respect you, so that people love you, so that insert whatever works for you. So that what? So what if you could create and manifest anything and everything that you wanted? And for some people, it's going to be material things. For others, it's a feeling, right? And then, you know, for me, the opportunity, you know, what I realized is that, you know, I have years ago, I was like, what I want most in life is ease and flow. I want ease and flow and serenity. And when things happen in my life, I want to be able to move into ease and flow as quickly as possible. And I have that. I have that. And so today, as I was remembering this, it was like, I've expanded to the point that I can expand based on that desire. And so I was guided to like ask myself the question again. So my question, how I asked it today was, other than ease and flow and serenity, because I have that, what do I really, 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 really want? Other than that, so other than what I have, right? Other than this, what do I really, 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 really want? And to start allowing myself to fantasize about this next level. Because it's only when we want something else in return. So it's only when we want something in return that what we currently don't have that forces us to step into a new way of being. And it's approaching it from not from a lack perspective, but awareness. I don't have this. I would like this. And so then we can move into expansion energy, move into what that next level is. Right. And not out of fear. And I think that's the biggest piece is not to fantasize because we are afraid that we don't have it. Words are hard here, right? And I understand that. But to start to fantasize them, wouldn't it be cool if, go back to that language, wouldn't it be cool if? And then be open to what you're being shown. Because in order for us to actually fulfill our life purpose, whether you've done human design or not, we all know that we're meant for something. So in order to fill our life purpose, we have to grow into our purpose, and it unfolds over time. So I believe when we experience something that doesn't feel so great, it's because we're growing into our purpose. We're shown where the growth can happen. We're shown the opportunity of growth. Because as the human species, we're kind of conditioned to, when we're in enough pain, we do something about it. It's not like, oh, my life is great and I want more, right? It can be. Let me rephrase that. Thank you. It can be. We do have the opportunity to approach the world that way. We're just not conditioned we're conditioned differently. But as we expand, we can be like, this fucking rocks. What's next? This is an amazing experience. What's next? And even if the experience didn't feel so amazing at the time, right? You know, my dad having a massive heart attack in the hospital, in the cardiac unit at the Mazankowski Center in Edmonton, which is where the Heart Institute is. It was an amazing experience. I mean, if you're going to have a massive heart attack, you might as well have it in the recovery room of the Mazankowski Heart Institute and have like the best heart surgeons in Alberta there. Wow. Right. Amazing. That was an amazing experience for lots of reasons. Right? And how many times have we had experiences where we maybe have judged them as not being great? But when you move through them, then you can look at, oh, that was, I see that. And it's only your ego that's telling you it's not a great experience. That's it. It's only your ego. It's your personality telling you that it's a shitty experience. And, you know, I don't go around telling people, you know, that's not, well, I'll just say that's not true, but yeah, I'm careful who I share with. My dad having a heart attack was an amazing experience because people would look at me as I'm crazy. Now, do I care? No, but I really don't want to explain. Right? I don't feel it necessary to share that with the world at this moment in time. But it wasn't a bad thing. Right? It wasn't a bad thing at all. In fact, so many incredible miracles came out of it. So there is no purpose in growth if we don't desire something in return. So are you willing to let go of the conditioning that other people are more important than you, that what you want isn't important, and let go of the conditioning as you must sacrifice yourself for the well-being of other people? Because that's really what we're doing, a sacrifice. That's not what the universal law of sacrifice is meant for. But over and over again, I witness people sacrificing their own self for someone else. My mom sacrificed a lot of sleep and a lot of eating at the right time, right? Not for my dad, but for her. She wanted no regrets. She was like, if he's going to pass away, I will be here with him. That wasn't for my dad. That was for her. That was for her own peace of mind. She didn't stay to be a martyr, to be the hero. She went home the second night when, no, the third night, right? When he was off life support, she went home. right? People said, oh, you went home. She said, of course I went home. She didn't, right? She's not sacrificing her health and wellness for my dad. She's making any sacrifices. It was for her own well-being. How many sacrifices are you making, or have you, not even have you made, because the past doesn't matter, are you making for somebody else because you think it's the right thing? Right? Because you think it's the right thing. What does that look like for you? Are you willing? Are you willing to ask yourself, what do you really, really, really want? What if you went for what you wanted and it didn't matter? I think it's more of, are you willing to let go of the conditioning of the values that you were raised in that maybe aren't serving your higher purpose? We may feel a calling to make sacrifices, to make decisions, but when we're attached, not attached, when it's for our purpose, right? It will feel different. There was no resentment or bitterness, right? No feeling of we're the hero. Oh, look at me making all these sacrifices for my children or my family or my parents. And we move from I have to, to I want to, or I get to. I don't have to go to the hospital today. I'm choosing to. I want to be with my dad today. Right? What about for you? What are you doing that you really don't want to, but you're doing it because you feel like you have to? That you're conditioned to, right? And what would it be like for you? So think about today, right? In what do you really, 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 really want? No holds barred. Allow yourself to fantasize, right? What would that look like for you? And just play around with that. What would that feel like for you? And don't worry about the how, because you haven't made the decision about the what first. And the how will unfold when it's supposed to, when you've made the decision that that's the what you want. Until then, the how won't unfold. So what I'm being given is, if you're frustrated that the how isn't unfolding, it's because you haven't made the decision for the how to unfold. And the other message is, that's interesting because it doesn't usually come this way. So is, let me see if I want to get the words right. For someone or two, it's because the thing that you want isn't really what you want, but it's the thing that that you think you're supposed to want. And the reason the how isn't unfolding, it's because it's not what you really want. You're conditioned to want it. You're wanting it because somebody else wants it for you. And you thought, yeah, that'll make sense. Yeah, I should do that. So for some of you that are not experiencing the how, that's what's going on. It's because it's not your what do you want, it's somebody else's. You're doing it for somebody else to make someone else's life easier, maybe to yeah, I think that's it. To make someone else's life easier. But it's not what you really want. So that's why the how isn't coming. So you don't have to change what that is necessarily, but transform the energy around it. Because it needs to be yours. It needs to be your desire, not what someone else wants for you. I hope that makes sense to the person that needs to hear that. Excuse me. All right. Have an incredible day today. It's a holiday here in Canada. Is it tomorrow? July 1st, tomorrow? I'll be here. Right. So for those of you who want to join, fantastic. And then I think it's the holiday, the 4th, right, in the States. I will also be here for that. So just letting everybody know that. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. All right. Love all of you. Mwah. Have a great day.